Hey guys, welcome into Bollox Talks and Tangents. I'm trying to get my microphone just right. We got our drinks in hand. I got Lenny here with me. I got Blake in the booth, and we got a good show. We got a fun show. We were learning stuff as we were doing show prep.
Always.
And it just really is a fun show. I have no idea what authors you're bringing to the table. You know my three.
Yeah, I always told you I'm going beach read. They're Florida boys, but I'm going beach read.
Beach read, like sitting on the getting toes in the sand reading.
You got it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, but first thing we got to do, we got to talk about our amazing sponsors, and our whiskey of the week is actually a moonshine. You know, and I was a little under the weather yesterday, so my moonshine's going to bring me back. Okay. Blake is staring at the cameras, and I don't know what's going on with that.
You look handsome.
Yeah, because for some reason the camera that's facing you is for some reason not connected, even though it's on. So when I go to your camera, it's black.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to have to stay
more
on
me.
Getting a lot of Lenny today. And it's a fine shirt you have on, Lenny.
Thank you very much. This is my Charlie Harper bowling shirt.
Charlie Harper. Okay, all right.
That's all the man wore with bowling shirts.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you can put together what was his job?
Jingles. He was a jingle writer.
Commercial jingles.
Yeah, did well for himself apparently.
Yeah. He had a nice beach house in Malibu.
Yeah.
All right. And if you drink this actually helps you get a beach house in Malibu.
Nice.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I mean I know it's melted. It's melted creamsicles.
City Gate Spirits. Blake is trying to. I don't know why you're tiptoeing, Blake. Like he's a ninja. All right, City Gates Spirits. This is orange and cream moonshine. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I tell you, I was expecting more of the orange and cream, and I got a little more of the moonshine. So it had a little bite to it.
All right,
but I like that. I was expecting something like almost. I don't know what I was expecting. Like
all right,
knee high.
All right, so your camera works now, so you can see, so you can look directly in the camera.
I look directly in. Show the 904 now.
Always.
Make sure they know it's mine. All right, and here we go. We're gonna do a sip. Oh, yeah, it's good though. It's good.
Cheers, my friend.
Not overly sweet. And City Gate Spirits, if you want to go over there, they have some of the best tasting tours out there. Yeah. Really do an amazing job over there. They have so many really cool and unusual flavors. Also, along with them, co-sponsoring with them, they're owned by the same company, and that's St. Augustine Distillery. Really appreciate their partnership. Again, they decided to stay on with us another 3 months.
Good. You must be doing something right.
Yeah, they are. They like us so far.
Okay.
All right. The other guys who like us so far, and we really love them, is Meehan's.
Oh, yeah. And I got some inside information for you. It always fascinated me that Meehan's, an Irish pub and a great bar, surprisingly was always in the best of St. Augustine, in the top 2 or 3 of their wings.
Yes.
Which, came off the menu a little while back.
Yeah.
Well, live in anticipation. The wings are coming back on the menu. Oh. And if you're there for football Sundays, right now they're going on for football Sundays. But in the future, when they finish reprinting the new menu, the wings will be back.
They'll be back for permanent.
They're coming on the new menu.
I can tell you right now, their chicken tenders or chicken bites or whatever they call
Tipperary chicken nuggets, and they're outstanding.
They're ridiculously
so good. And the sad part is they're being swapped out for the wings.
Oh no!
Get them while you can. Reggie told me we got a month or so, maybe a little bit more, because I raved about them, and he said, "Oh, they're coming off for the wings." So get them now.
Happy, and hopefully those come back.
They were so good.
Oh.
Really? I mean, some of the best things I've ever had.
Can we do a combo?
I don't know. The wings are great. We'll talk to them.
Talk about these things. This is
I tried.
But I can tell you right now that it is wonderful food. It's 3 bars in one. Mm-hmm. Wonderful people. Really, they've been one of our sponsors since the very beginning, and just so happy to be in partnership with these guys.
Yeah, and give them a call, because I'm not quite sure, but there's a real good chance that they're opening early for the Jags game on Sunday, which is 9:30 out of London, and it's a tough game against the Buffalo Bills. But they did it last week, and they may be doing it again for the morning game.
Oh, okay,
because it's a Jags game.
Yeah,
go Jags.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, no, that'd be fun breakfast.
And there will be wings for football Sunday.
All right, Sounds great. St. Augustine Pirate Museum, right there on Sponsor Row. They have over 800 artifacts in there. The museum came up from Key West. We're going to talk a little bit about Key West when we get to one of our authors.
Okay. And his six-toed cats.
And I can tell you right now, it is a quality museum.
It really is.
If you have not been there, you need to give them a chance. If you have family coming into town, you need to take them to the Pirate Museum. Just wonderful people. I saw Cindy at the singer-songwriters event just last weekend. Just so happy that they're our partners.
And it's all ages. There's something that absolutely keeps children fascinated, including a scavenger hunt. But there's stuff for adults there. I was fascinated by some of the stuff that was there. Really. And it's real things, too. So it's not like, Madame Tussauds. There's, real pirates.
There's real, they lived amongst us.
Yes.
All right, new sponsor. I'm going to let you do this one because you know it better than anybody, but it is
Kaiser's
amazing
Deli
food.
and Market, 4 White Street, between the amphitheater and the bridge, next to the Beacon and Gypsy Cab. Set back a little bit, but if you're looking for lunch, you're looking for a sandwich, you're looking for a charcuterie platter, you should go nowhere else because Jules makes great charcuterie platter. You want a pastrami sandwich?
Oh, it's amazing.
You're not going to get a better one in St. Augustine. You're just not.
Amazing pastrami, and Kaiser's such a great guy.
Yep.
We got to get over there and support him.
Yep.
They have ready to eat meals in their market.
Yep. Right now we've got broccoli shells, stuffed shells with ricotta and broccoli.
Okay.
And it's an ever-changing thing. It's a week-by-week situation that freezer gets loaded up.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. Last week was lasagna. Next week maybe eggplant parm.
Whew.
Well, it depends on what the chef feels like making.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, so what you're saying is if you go to Kaiser's Deli, make sure you say hi, Kaiser.
Hi,
Well, you go to any of our sponsors. Tell them that you heard about it on Bollox. They would appreciate knowing that their advertising dollars are going well, and we would appreciate the feedback and the plug.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And like I said, we love all our sponsors.
Yeah, good people. Good people.
And we...
Got an accountant for me?
Yeah, we do. But at first I have a great breakfast place for you.
Ooh, been there. I like that.
Oh, the Roosevelt Room. Roosevelt Room, great for breakfast and lunch. They also have a private event space that you can go up to 75 people.
Yeah.
So if you have a business outing, you have a small wedding, you have anything like that where you just want to throw a party, a
rehearsal
birthday
dinners,
party, rehearsal dinners.
Yeah.
The chef will work with you on what you want to do with those. The Roosevelt Room, located right there on St. George Street next to Prohibition Kitchen.
And their breakfast potatoes are outstanding because they do them in duck fat. Ain't nothing wrong with a potato in duck fat. Ooh,
nothing
baby.
wrong. Everything cooked in duck fat's better.
Yeah, it really
All
is.
right, not cooked in duck fat. My tax returns.
Well, that's good.
Abare, Kresge
They're
and
not that
Associates.
greasy. Good.
They are the best CPAs in town. They do all my taxes. They keep me out of trouble, and I appreciate them. They've been doing it for decades, and I can't imagine sending anybody to any place else but Abare, Kresge and Associates. If you want to save money, if you hate money, don't call them. Okay? If you want to throw money and just give all your money to the government, don't call them.
Give it to us.
Don't call them. Don't call them. All right? But if you want to save your money and spend it on more quality things like sponsoring Bollox Talks and Tangents,
Yeah, we like that.
you'll have more money, and they'll figure out how to write it off for you.
Better still.
Abare, Kresge and Associates, give him a call. All right, last but not least, Coquina Coast Realty. They do commercial, they do residential, they do rentals, they do everything in the real estate world, and it's a really tough guy to get a hold of. His name is Troy Blevins.
Hard to find. He's a busy man.
And his number is 904-669-7901. 904-669-7901. Appreciate you guys and appreciate all those amazing sponsors. Kaiser, welcome to the team. All right, word origins.
Okay.
All right, we're talking about our sponsors.
Okay.
And the sponsors, they bring in the cheddar. All right? And I'm talking about the money.
Okay.
All right? Do you know how cheddar became a part of being associated with money?
Well, educate me, please.
All right. In the 1950s, when you went to go pick up your welfare check, they would give you a block of cheese. So it became very common saying, I'm going to get my cheddar.
I didn't even know they were doing welfare checks in the 50s.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the 1950s, and that's when that term came into play. Is it was associated with the free cheese that you got with your welfare check.
All right. Makes good sense.
Yeah.
Well, we all heard the stories of the government cheese when there was some problems that they just opened the warehouse and blocks of cheese came flying out of there. Unfortunately, no checks were attached to them, but still.
Yeah. Well, you get your check and you get your cheddar.
All right. I'm liking that one.
Yeah. But you know what they would do if you took someone else's cheddar? They'd say that's nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese. That's a little bit of a chippy answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I dip into certain things.
Well,
All right, what you got?
all right. Well, you know how I try to theme out my word origins to our topic. So my first one is writer's block,
Okay.
because many people suffer from it. And it's a non-medical condition, which is good to know.
Yeah.
And
Can't take a pill for it.
No. But you could hypnotize yourself. It got qualified as a concept in 1947 by an Austrian psychologist or psychiatrist named Edmund Bergler. And he's the guy who started coining the phrase writer's block to explain what people were going through. And of course, when you're an Austrian, psychoanalyst, a cigar is not necessarily a cigar, and a train going into a tunnel has deeper meaning. Mm-hmm. So he put the basis of this on oral masochism, mothers that bottle fed their children instead of breastfed their children, and people who had unstable private love lives. Basically, what it came down to, it was part of a.
Seems like a lot of Freudian.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, he was an Austrian shrink in 1947.
Yeah,
Where else you going
Freudian
with that? Yeah,
crap in there.
Yeah. Primarily.
Get your own ideas, would you?
Right, I'm thinking. But part of it became, a part of a fight or flight situation. People would freeze up, and then they didn't know which way to go. And there were some very successful people. F. Scott Fitzgerald had writer's block. Adele apparently went through a phase where she had writer's block. Rachmaninoff wasn't composing for a while. And it seems that Herman Melville had it so badly that after he wrote Moby Dick, he never wrote again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently. That's what my research told me, but, it's the internet, so somebody could have made it all up. Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Have you ever tried doing any writing or anything?
I do from time to time. Okay. I think I am absolutely sure that in me I have a play, a novel, and I don't know if I have a screenplay, but a play and a novel. Yeah. Waiting to pop right out of there. All I got to do is sit down.
Yeah, I think if I ever was patient enough, I might be able to put out a pretty good story.
Yeah, I'm too ADD, man. I can't sit still long enough without being completely distracted.
Yeah, because I've had some pretty fun adventures in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I've had some fun adventures.
Yeah. That's why I love your stories, man.
All right, so my next one is The Man. All right, everybody knows about The Man. All right, you're a child of the 60s and 70s.
Cheese it, the fuzz. Yeah,
the man was kind of a curse word in your culture, right?
Yes.
All right. So I wanted to find out the origin of the man.
All right.
So, and it didn't come from Ric Flair. Blake, to be the man, you got to beat the man. All right. It didn't come from Ric Flair.
Makes sense.
All right. It actually came from the Hebrew Bible. It goes all the way back.
Old Testament.
All the way back that far. All right. And it had to do with Joseph's brothers. And it was the word was ha-ish, and it meant the boss.
Okay.
All right. It didn't come back around until about 1918 in the U.S. And it didn't become popular until like the 1950s. Rebel Without a Cause and all these type things. And the man became authority figures in the government. So the man roughly translates to the boss.
Okay.
And authority. But in the 60s and 70s, the man was forcing Vietnam on us.
Yeah. I'm thinking. Now I'm getting all these Cool Hand Luke flashbacks of
Cool Hand Luke was another one. Yeah.
We have a failure to communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the guy and the overseer sitting up on the horse with his shotgun and his big ass hat.
The man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but that's where it goes all the way back to the Hebrew Bible and Joseph's brothers.
Well, I'm just glad it wasn't Shakespeare.
Oh, Shakespeare. Well, 9 times out of 10 it is.
I know. That's why I'm glad it wasn't. All right. Well, if you have writer's block, you got to do something to get past that. So my second word origin is pull out all the stops. Because if you have writer's block, you got to do something to get past it. So you got to pull out all the stops. You got to forge ahead. Use everything at your disposal that you can to plow right through.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's it, man. And that actually came from pipe organs.
Okay.
Pipe organs. It became a term that was figurative as opposed to the literal term of pulling out all the stops from your pipe organ, because when you were playing a pipe organ, there were different ranks of the pipes, and each one had stops in them, and the stops would close off the air going into those pipes that would control the volume of the organ. So when you pull one out, it would open up more air, it would release more pipe participation, and if you pulled out all the pipes, all the stops, then your organ was full of voice and full, and it was the loudest it's going to be and the most mellifluous you're going to get.
Mellifluous?
Mellifluous. So to pull out all the stops, it's basically, full steam ahead, do everything you can, and, if you got writer's block, you got to pull out all the stops and do something, whether it's a cold shower, walk around the block, or, stop drinking from a bottle.
I'm still stuck on mellifluous.
Mellifluous.
Yeah, it's not easy for me to say.
Apparently not, but it's musical. Okay. It is. It's a mellifluous word.
It is. I can't even say it. I tried again.
It's that creamsicle is working, baby.
I failed again. It's kicking in.
You got moonshine on your breath. It's a good thing.
It's not a horrible thing.
No.
Don't call the man on me.
No. Yeah, but maybe you can throw him some cheddar and get out of it.
We'll sling some cheddar his way.
There you go. All righty.
All right. It's time to talk about Florida authors and the reason we're doing this. On this day, today is...
And it is today.
Today is the birthday of Stetson Kennedy. All right. Stetson, cheers, my friend.
I know this is personal for you.
It is. It's very personal. He's a guy that later on in life influenced me. I got a chance to become friends with him. Got a chance to have some cocktails, a little bit of moonshine, a little harsher than what we got here. And in case you guys don't know who Stetson Kennedy is, he was a local author here in town. And Stetson, you have probably 4 of his books over there. There.
I have the Stetson Kennedy collection from the St. Augustine Beach branch of the Public Library from St. Johns County, and I now control the collection if anybody needs one of the books.
Well, you don't have Grits and Grunts in there, which is the last book he wrote.
I had all that they had.
Yeah. But and it doesn't look like Palmetto Country's over there.
No, I've got Jim Crow Guide.
Exposure.
I've got After Appomattox, or How the South Still Thinks They Won the War. His biography.
Yeah, who wrote that? It was
a woman by the name of Peggy Bulger, Bulger.
Bulger.
Yeah, which is interesting because in the foreword of it, she made a comment that was echoed by the person. This is actually her biography is actually her doctoral thesis.
Okay,
and she made the interesting point, and this is going to speak to what you're going to talk about, I'm sure. She went to do the research on him and found out he's still alive. No, everybody thought the poor man was dead for years.
Well, he disappeared several times in his life.
Well, he went to Europe for a while, I understand.
He was in France, and then he had a screw up on his passport in France, and he got detained in France for over a year.
It's not a bad place if you're not in prison. If you're not in the Bastille, it's not a bad place to get trapped.
And so, just to give a brief history of Stetson. Stetson was born in Jacksonville. He's from a fairly affluent family. By the name Stetson, what do you think of?
You're wearing one, baby.
Stetson?
Yep.
Stetson?
Yep.
All right. So one of his direct
this is his uncle?
ancestors is John Batterson Stetson, who started Stetson Hat Company, who started Stetson University.
Correct.
Blake, where would you find Stetson University?
You will find it in DeLand, Florida.
DeLand, Florida.
Not the ocean, the land.
No, not near
DeLand.
Right.
D-water.
Right.
D-land.
Gotcha.
All right. But he's a descendant from that family. So they were a fairly wealthy family. And the authors I have a couple things in common. They both had, all three of them had fairly good family basis of where they're writing from. And the three I'm doing is Zora Neale Hurston and Ernest Hemingway and Stetson Kennedy. And they all had multiple marriages. Okay, I don't know if that trend is just because of their open thinking and their constantly transforming. I personally only knew Stetson. Obviously, Hemingway was gone and Hurston was gone before I was born. But Stetson was a very free spirit. He was always looking to do what was right.
Yeah. Social conscience was amazing.
And this is a guy who ran for governor in 1952.
How'd he do?
He got about 8%. I don't know. No, he got I think he got like 15% of the vote. All right. And this is when he was hanging out with Woody Guthrie, which was his best friend at the time. He's the godfather of Arlo Guthrie. And one of the best moments with Stetson and Stetson, for you guys, you have the Klan Unmasked. He's probably most known for the Klan Unmasked, but the book that got him the most recognition was Palmetto Country, and that's actually how Woody and him met. Woody read Palmetto Country, and a lot of people say it's the best book ever written about Florida, still to this day. And what Woody did is Woody was such a free spirit, just like Stetson, so they hit it off right away. What Woody did is he took the cover of Palmetto Country after he read it, and wrote a letter to Stetson saying, "Hey, I understand you're at this place, Beluthahatchee. It sounds like..."
It's not easy to say, by the way.
Yeah, Lake Beluthahatchee.
Yeah, I practiced that.
And he wrote on the cover of the book, and mailed it to Stetson, a letter saying, "Hey, I'm coming to you. Come pick me up at the train station," and whatever it was. The irony of it was he wrote the letter like 2 weeks before. Stetson gets the letter the day before Woody shows up at the train station. Stetson goes to the train station, gets Woody Guthrie. They meet, and they become lifelong friends at that point until Woody passes. But that cover got lost, all right? And we had a copy of the cover, but the cover got lost. And when I say we when I was at Parks and Recreation, we bought Lake Beluthahatchee and made it a life estate while Stetson was still alive.
Okay.
But we did what's called the Southern Exposure Music Festival in honor of Stetson and at Alpine Groves and at Lake Beluthahatchee. After the second Southern Exposure Music Festival, we had Ramblin' Jack Elliott there, and Arlo was there, and Frank Thomas was. I mean, there was the singer, not the baseball player.
The Big Hurt? No? Okay.
Not the baseball player. So we go back and have an after party at Lake Beluthahatchee. So we're all there, and we got the Guthrie family because they performed, and Ramblin' Jack and Stetson and everybody, and I'm in the kitchen drinking with them, and we start talking about the book cover, about how they met, and Ramblin' Jack goes, "I have a surprise for you." Woody had given that cover to Ramblin' Jack. It had been gone for over 35 years.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to try not to choke up. And Arlo read it, and all of us were just bawling.
Oh, wow.
So it was a part of history that was just lost for 35 years.
That's so cool.
And,
that is so cool.
Yeah. It was just one of those really, really cool moments that I was able to. And by the way, Ramblin' Jack Elliott, Stetson, and Arlo outdrank me like you would not believe. And I'm a pretty good drinker.
Yeah, you ain't bad.
I can hold my own.
You ain't bad.
But I mean, I was standing in the kitchen with these guys, just doing shots with them. I was like, oh.
Yeah, they're trained professionals, dude.
Oh yeah. So, but it was one of the really cool moments of Stetson. And Stetson, one of the fun moments of having a conversation with Stetson. Stetson wrote a lot about civil rights, and before it was cool. We're talking he infiltrated the KKK in the 40s, basically 20 years before Martin Luther King started doing his walk. And Stetson, when Obama got elected, it was a real victory for him. He's like, hey, we started this fight a long time ago. And I'm looking over there and I see the Jim Crow guide. So after Stetson had passed, like almost immediately after I think he was still alive. It was at the end of his life. I was cleaning out Lake Beloutahatchee. There's a house right next door because we bought both houses to create.
Is that in St. Johns County?
Yes, it's in St. Johns County. It's off of State Road 13. But I was cleaning out a garage, and in the garage was a small filing cabinet, like just a single small filing cabinet. And what Stetson did is when he wrote his books, he wrote everything on 3x5 cards, and then he'd piece it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. So I found all the 3x5 cards for the Jim Crow guide that was in a garage. I had them laid out all over the conference room, drying out.
Yeah.
And I found also in that garage, I found a .22 rifle. So the story with the .22 rifle that Stetson had told me, him and Woody were at Lake Beloutahatchee. They were living in not a Greyhound bus, but it was something similar to that. And this is where these guys were living. And the KKK was constantly looking for Stetson. Like that's part of the reason why he had to go to France.
Yeah.
But him and Woody had been drinking, and they hear these guys coming into where they're at, and they had to run and hide in Lake Beloutahatchee, and they were hiding behind a log. And Stetson said he had his .22 rifle with him. It was a bolt action, so it had one bullet in him, and evidently Woody was pretty much a nudist, but they had taken off running, and Woody's pretty much naked. He said he might have had underwear on, but everything was just everywhere. And Stetson and him are hiding behind this log, and and Stetson had one of those really like enjoyable laughs. When they laugh, you laugh. And he said, "We got to giggling." And here they are, people all around him. He's got a .22 in his chest, and he's like, "Shut up, Woody," and they started giggling. So I can just picture when I found his .22, I was like, I wonder if this is the one, because it was of the right age,
right?
And it was another one of those surreal moments with Stetson.
See, the interesting thing I'm learning about Stetson Kennedy, and when I finish my research and my reading, I'll learn a bit more. But he was a folkloricist. He was somebody who took oral histories, and that's where he got his source material. He would talk to people, and put it together, and he started with the
He started
WPA.
collecting those very young. I mean, even before WPA.
Yeah.
He started collecting those very young.
And it's a brilliant way to go. I mean, it's and you have to have a real knack for that, to be able to get information from people that's natural and comes honestly and organically. So obviously the man was very, very talented. But I got a kick out of it because he must have started a lot of this stuff, as you said, young.
Yeah.
Because people couldn't believe, in the 90s he was still, and he lived into the 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
I actually was at the hospital the day before he passed. Sandra called and said, "Hey, you probably need to get up here." And he really couldn't communicate at that time. And, but I was able to be there with him. And, no, he was very sharp. He started losing his hearing probably the last 4 or 5 years, which made it a little bit of a challenge to talk on the phone with him.
Okay.
But just a good heart. We ended up throwing a party 5 days afterwards after his passing, which was on his birthday, which is today. We were able to do that. We had about 700-800 people show up for that.
Wow, nice.
But the other thing, and I meant to send this picture to Blake, and I said something about it last night at the trivia show.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest moments of my life, besides my boys being born and a couple other things might beat that, was I was able to introduce Stetson Kennedy to George McGovern.
Right, you're saying, yeah.
All right, and that was like such a humbling moment. I thought I was cocky. I was probably, let's see, I would have been probably 42, 43 years old. And, like, I kind of had the world. And I'm sitting between these guys. Here's a guy who infiltrated the KKK, outed the KKK to the Superman radio show.
Right.
They did 16 episodes about the KKK where Superman fought against the KKK. He gave out all the code words and all of those things. So when kids were opening their dad's closet and seeing the KKK, that was the enemy against Superman. There's no telling how many people he influenced against that thought process. And then on the George McGovern side, him and Bob Dole
Right.
are the two that created the free lunch program for kids that couldn't afford lunch. So there's no telling how many lives they saved from that. We're talking two people that had huge impacts on the world, and very few people know what they did.
The connections, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The more I learn about him, and again, he started this at a young age, and he kept going. He didn't stop.
Yeah, he wrote Grits and Grunts at age like 92. So
More power to him.
yeah. No, I'm telling you, he was a sharp man later in life, and he always fought for the underdog. Sometimes a little too extreme on it, but it was okay.
Well,
It's what he believed in.
if you're going to sink your teeth into something,
Yeah.
Don't let go.
Yeah. So
when do we start our campaign to get him on a postage stamp?
I don't know if Stetson would want to be on a postage stamp because that's controlled by the man.
Ooh. Yeah, well, all right. Sorry, Stets.
But I mean, it's 100. I'm when I say that, I'm saying it out of love for the man.
Right.
That's. I'm not sure if that's what he would
Would be
actually
appropriate?
want.
Okay.
So, if you want to hear, because Stetson's song, Beluthahachie Bill, is actually a song by Wilco.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And it was done by Billy Bragg. So his song about him will live on, and it was written by Woody Guthrie.
Nice. Very nice.
So, all right. I think it's almost time to do sponsors reads again.
Okay,
I talked a lot about
I'm intrigued, man. This is like I said. I was really looking forward to this because I know your personal connection to this and how important this is to you, and a fascinating subject. And there you are in the forefront of history, my friend.
Yeah. So put my 2 cents into this. Like so I think both of us would. So we were going to trivia like 2 weeks ago, and we were brainstorming topics, and I realized. I looked up like Stetson Kennedy, and I realized like his birthday fell directly on the Thursday, so that's why we chose.
That's why it had to be this topic.
You raised a fine young man in there. Yeah. You were raising a fine young man who is now raising you.
Well, Stetson's all over our house.
Yeah.
We have certain things that Stetson, either a picture of me and Stetson together, or he gave me some artwork on his 90th birthday. So he's definitely a part of our house.
Okay.
And hopefully a part of our conscious of.
And I was going to say, and a part of your life and your kin, yeah.
So.
No, it's a hell of a role model. That's all I got to say.
And Barbara Jean just put in and said, "Sorry to interrupt. Dick Buck has passed away."
Right, we knew that.
All right,
yeah.
and
thank you.
We didn't know that, Barbara Jean, and I don't know if you know this, Barbara Jean, but Dick Buckus was also a part of my life. I'm still friends. To this day with his 2 sons, Matt and Ricky, and just another guy that somehow has come into my life that I didn't realize he was a football player when he came into my life. He was Ricky's dad.
Large dad, but a dad.
A large and intimidating dad. And Ricky and Matt played on my Little League baseball team. And when he lived in DeLand Springs and DeLand area, I was fortunate enough to become friends with those guys, both great guys. And Mr. Butkus was always super kind to me. I've had dinner at his house, and a lot of love going to the Butkus family.
Well, Bears are playing tonight, so go Bears.
Yeah,
the Bears.
Win one for Butkus.
Please.
Yeah, and he's still considered the most feared tackler of all time.
Man, it was impressive. As I told you earlier when we found out that he had passed, that he was in my formative years of watching football in the NFL. I mean, he was a presence.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Him and Gale Sayers were drafted in the same draft. Probably the
impressive.
greatest one singular team draft of all time. They picked up Gale Sayers and Butkus in the first round.
Well, that's did him well.
Well, they picked up probably the most exciting running back of all time, even though he couldn't. He
Didn't
had a
last
very
long.
short
Right,
career.
yeah.
And Butkus' career was only like 9 years. So,
but it was a different game then. The padding was different.
Well, you didn't have the surgeries. If
right.
you had a knee surgery, your career was over.
Right. Exactly. And you had to work in the off season. You weren't making, $23 million guaranteed a year with the training and the training table and the medical care at all. That was just sheer grit, and force of will.
Yeah. Now, and if you, like I said, I met him probably in 76, 77, somewhere around that time frame. He had retired in 73. I know when he went into the Hall of Fame, Ricky was on our team. Ricky and Matt both were on our team. And I remember that. And I was such a baseball guy. I was like, what's the big deal?
Well.
But as I started to appreciate the history of sports, right. I appreciated him more than the time I probably could have had with him. But he was Ricky's dad.
Right. And it's interesting that his sons played baseball and not football.
Well, Ricky played baseball. Matt played football. I think Matt played for USC.
Okay.
So, and his daughter, Nikki, has a son who I think plays volleyball for UCLA.
Okay. All right.
So,
California
by
kids.
the way, one of my first crushes was Nikki. Well, they were Chicago.
If you're watching at home.
Yeah. They were Chicago, and then they came to Florida. They were in Florida for maybe 6 or 7 years, and then they moved to California because of the TV movie opportunities that Mr. Butkus had. Mm-hmm. So,
very cool.
Is it funny I call him Mr. Butkus?
No, it's respectful. Absolutely. It's first of all, it shows the time frame in which you and I were raised. Mm-hmm. First of all, and it's a matter of respect. It was always difficult to call somebody that you knew growing up your entire life. To call them by their first name as you became closer to being a peer to them.
Yeah.
It was just always awkward, and it was just easier to call him Mr. Butkus.
Well, I can tell you this. I still love to this day, and, Blake's been out with me and stuff like that. Probably the next best title for me is coach. Mm-hmm. Dad's number one. Dad's number one, but the next best title is coach. And when I see somebody out and someone goes, "Hey, Coach Troy, how you doing?"
Yeah.
I was like, all right. The fact that you're calling me that means that I left some type of impression on you. So,
yeah.
All right, sponsors.
Who's paying for this?
Sponsors. Coquina Coast Realty. Give us a call, 904-669-7901. Abare, Kresge and Associates. These guys are simply the best if you want to keep your money. If you hate money, don't call them. But if you like keeping your money and not giving it all to the IRS or any of those other people, call Abare, Kresge and Associates. They'll help you out. All right, the Roosevelt Room and event space at the Roosevelt Room. They have amazing breakfast, amazing lunch, and then they have probably the best meeting space on St. George Street. So,
and wedding destination that we are, it's a perfect place for your rehearsal dinner.
I mean, they can handle up to 75 people. Mm-hmm. They'll work. It's a
beautiful space. Yeah,
work with you on the menu. They're a very, very talented chef. Give them a call. Don't wait. Give them a call today. All right, Kaiser Deli and Market. Kaiser's Deli and Market.
You got an office. You need a platter of sandwiches to keep your employees happy. You don't want them to leave their desk. Feed them at the desk. Kaiser will deliver for you. Sorry, Kurt, but I know you do. He does platters, charcuterie boards. You're having an event. You're a realtor. Hey, you're a realtor and you need to put something in the house? Man,
Open house.
Jules makes the best charcuterie platters you're ever going to see. The woman is talented. And if you want a pastrami sandwich, you're not getting a better one in town.
No.
Simply that.
So good. Everything's fresh. I mean, they just do an amazing job over there. And they're nice people.
Very much so. Anastasia Boulevard. You can't go wrong.
Nice people. All right. More nice people. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. Mm-hmm. You think of pirates, you think of evil and mean people. No, these are good pirates.
Right. These are the nice pirates.
And
Fascinating stuff.
You'll find out more stuff than you ever want to learn about pirates. You walk in there. You can take an hour, you can take 3, and you're still not going to see everything in there.
I need to go back. I really do. Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, Meehan's Irish Pub.
Get your Tipperary chicken bits now because they may be leaving the menu, and you're going to be very upset that you haven't had them.
Oh, I'm telling you.
But the wings are coming back.
I'm telling you, it's good stuff. So you motivated me this weekend. If I don't make it,
so good.
I'm going to try and I might go to the Jaguars game over there.
Just make sure he's doing it because I think he will.
Reg.
Yeah, Reggie may be there, so you're golden. Yeah.
So I'll give him a call. But Meehan's 3 bars in one. They got the Johnny's Oyster Bar upstairs. They got the pub downstairs and the backyard. They have live music.
Absolutely.
And just amazing
and the
food.
staff is just some of the best people in town.
And, I can't think of another environment I'd rather have a good Jameson in.
I got friends coming to town Monday, and we're going to Meehan's.
There you go.
Absolutely. I need to show off my Meehan's.
Meehan's is a place you can brag about.
Absolutely, and I do, as you well know.
Yes.
Often.
Yes. Yeah. All right, another place you can brag about is St. Augustine Distillery and Citygate Spirits. We're drinking today. We're drinking the orange and cream
moonshine.
Moonshine. Cheers, sir.
Yep. And I got news for you. For a place that ain't in Kentucky, they do one heck of a bourbon. I am saying that is some good stuff. That St. Augustine bourbon, delicious.
Yeah, no, they do an amazing job. And you're looking over here at our bar, which is made up of mostly City Gates, and it's quite an impressive bar.
The whiskey is nice.
Yep. All right, we got more authors to talk about, and we only got like 20 minutes left.
Hey, look,
I talked a lot about Stetson. I apologize.
I got no problem. I have no problem with that. Keep going because your Stetson stories are just fascinating, and they're heartfelt. And I think more people need to understand who this man was and what he did.
He was a different level. I mean, there are certain people, and sometimes when I talk, it sounds like I'm almost a Forrest Gump story. Like I'm actually talking, and I was like, "There's no way people believe this about me."
Well, it's the Zelig in you.
I mean, I was friends with Stetson Kennedy. Yeah. I ate dinner with, Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
George McGovern would call me when he needed tickets, and we'd hang out together. Yeah. By the way, great dude too. Amazing story with George McGovern. Just a bomber pilot, just a great guy. So, I mean, it's some of these things just kind of fall into place, and it's like almost like, okay, did that really just happen?
Well, it's, I mean, you could call it a charmed life. You can call it a lot of things, and I've had a lot of similar experiences with different people. But, through my college career and my political career and things of that nature, some of the exposure I've had, and it's, you try to explain it to, other people, and they look at you like, are you for real?
Yeah.
And, But I will say, Stetson Kennedy makes me want to be a better person.
No, he really,
and I do try, and I am woefully short of that standard. Unfortunately,
I fall short every day, and I'm
okay. But he
with
makes
it.
me want to be a better person.
Yeah, and Stetson will tell you he's like, and Stetson was a great, like, he engaged you in a conversation. Like he would talk about the blue herring at Lake Blue-Tahatchee, and he just called it Old Blue, but that herring was there every year, every season, and he's like, helped me write most of my books. and he talked about him a lot. And it just little things like that kind of stick with you when you talk about Stetson. So
You're a fortunate man, Troy Blevins, on a lot of levels, and you know what the interesting thing is, and I feel the same way. You realize it.
Yeah.
You don't take being you for granted.
No,
and there's a lot to be said for that.
I appreciate the people I've come in contact with, and still am coming in contact with. And the people I've worked with and have relationships with. I have lifelong friends. I'm talking since I was in elementary school that I still talk to, either daily or and I'm not talking like one or two. I have a group of 8 friends that we played high school baseball together.
And that was the entire Stetson. That was the entire DeLand graduating high school class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify something there.
When I graduated from DeLand was actually the largest high school in the state of Florida.
No shit.
We had 715 people in my graduating class, but our school was over 3,000 people.
Wow, that was bigger than my school when I lived in DeLand, suburbia.
When I was in DeLand, all of Deltona, all of Lake Helen, all of Orange City, all of DeBary, everyone went to one high school.
A lot of kids spent a lot of time on a bus, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of people think of DeLand as that, but I was, like I said, I was very fortunate. I got to play with a lot of amazing people, and 8 of us talk almost on a regular basis. It drives Rebecca crazy when she's like, "Who are you talking to?" It's like I'm talking to my baseball crew. I have a couple of groups. I have my work crew that I won't say what the name of that group is,
right?
Because
they're not a sponsor. Right?
No. We named ourselves in a way that would be politically correct.
Okay.
They understand the love. We understand the love. Right. So, and then I have our different groups, but I have friends, and I don't know of a lot of people, and we talk about this in our friend group. I have friends that I've been friends with for 50 years.
Right.
And I'm 56.
Isn't that wonderful?
No, it's a beautiful thing.
It's wonderful. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And by the way, my stories get worse every year about my friends, and what we did, and I exaggerate. And the person that I can relate that to the most is Stetson Kennedy. He was a great storyteller. And, one of the things that he got beat up on the Klan Unmasked, and it was I Rode with the Klan.
The Klan, right.
Originally is what it was called. Yeah. There was other people that had infiltrated the KKK at the same time as Stetson. Stetson's the one that was willing to put his name on it.
That's ballsy.
And there was probably 2 other people that were feeding Stetson with information. He said, I wrote the book to make the book successful, to make the book feel authentic. He said, I've never denied there were other people feeding me information. And I don't know how much you've read about Stetson, but he got beat up about it in Freakonomics and some of the other stuff, saying that...
Not physically beat up,
no,
taking the task.
Yeah, taking the task, like what he said was not 100% true. And some of the things... And he
sad to hear from Freakonomics.
He said, it's true. There was other people that collaborated, but I put my name on it.
Right.
And that's saying a lot. And he paid the price.
Yeah.
If
they could spell it or pronounce it, the Klan probably put a fatwa on them.
Yeah. If they knew what that was.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, until the day he died, and in my movie Freedom on Our Mind,
right,
I mentioned Stetson. Stetson could not participate in the protests here in town because he was working for Florida Memorial College, and the president of Florida Memorial told all staff they were not allowed to participate, and none of the students were allowed to participate. So he still participated, but he had to dress in a disguise. Now he's walking amongst the Klan, who are looking, and he had a death threat on his life until the day he died.
Right.
And he still walked right in the middle of the protest. He could have lost his job. He could have several other things.
Could have lost his life.
He could have lost his life if they'd have found out who he was.
They didn't hesitate to shoot first and ask questions later.
But he still was there.
Yeah.
So
man had brass ones.
Oh yeah.
Big brass ones.
Yeah. So. But he was a great storyteller. I'm telling you right now.
And we have the fruits of his labor, which is the wonderful part. The books that are here on this table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was able
Go to your library, get a Stetson Kennedy book, learn.
Yeah.
You know, help become a better person. Not to say that you're not a better person, but become a better person, because I'm really working on it, and it's a slow process. Ask my wife.
Yeah. So no, I mean, sorry, I had to correct Heather. DHS was the Bulldogs, not the Wolves.
Oh, Deland High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Bulldogs.
Very Georgia of you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, our Bulldog was a little tougher.
Yeah, and oddly enough, somewhere along the line, my high school was the Long Beach High School Marines, and I mean, now it may make more sense in retrospect, but our logo was also a bulldog.
Okay.
And it took a while to figure that out, but now that I'm watching, there's a Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks show called The Pacific on Netflix.
Okay.
Whew, that is some gruesome stuff, but impressive filmmaking, really impressive storytelling.
About World War II or
in the Pacific, yeah,
okay.
World War II in the Pacific, and
my
it is
grandfather was in
graphic. Oh my goodness, it's frightening, but it is so well done.
Yeah, my grandfather was in the Pacific. He was in the group that came in after the fights, and basically with the bulldozers,
the Seabees,
and kind of cleaned up all the bodies and everything else.
Goodness. And I'm through 7 of 10 episodes, and I have to do something humorous like Ted Lasso or play a game of hearts afterwards, because it is just gut wrenching. And it's you look
Ted
at this.
Lasso's a great show.
Oh, it's so wonderful. We're rewatching it for the second time. We watched the whole 3 series, and we've gone back to do it again. Absolutely brilliant thing to do.
Be a goldfish.
You know, absolutely. I wish I could learn that one and try to become a better person. I'm trying.
Well,
actually, it's happening organically for me because I'm getting older and I forget everything.
Yeah.
So it's happening naturally, man. It's not even like by choice. It's just what happened.
And Blake, you have not watched Ted Lasso, have you?
I have not yet.
Oh, you really should.
I can tell you, Blake, it's a great show, but being a goldfish is the animal with the shortest memory.
Yeah.
It only lasts like 10 seconds.
Yep.
So whatever happens now, be a goldfish and just let it go.
Yep. Water off your back, man.
Just let it go.
Yep. Absolutely.
So be a goldfish.
There's a lot of very positive philosophy that comes out of Ted Lasso.
So,
but we'll say though. So I know we meant did Stetson live in Key West for a bit of time, or am I mistaking that for someone else?
Are you trying to make a segue here, sir?
I think you were talking about Ernest Hemingway.
And I was trying to keep this all Stetson all the time. Oh,
yeah,
well.
we could have stayed with all Stetson all the time. And my 3 people are a little intertwined.
Yeah.
All right. Stetson and Zora Neale Hurston worked on the WPA project.
Yeah,
together.
right. Exactly, which was brilliant.
Zora Neale, their eyes were watching God is her number one, and she had a relationship here in St. Augustine. She's lived here in St. Augustine for a little bit.
Yep.
But most of her time was in Eatonville,
right,
Florida, one of the very first all-black
and I keep forgetting, is it still there or is it gone?
Eatonville is still there. It's a part of Incorporated Orlando.
Right.
It's on the northern side.
Because it was a black community.
Yes, it was a black community. So if you're on I-4 and you're driving into Orlando and you see a little football field over to the left, right off I-4, that was Eatonville High School.
Okay.
And but Zora Neale's father was a preacher, and he was one of the mayors of Eatonville. So Stetson came from a fairly solid family. Zora Neale Hurston came from a solid family. And my other one's Ernest Hemingway, which Blake was trying to lead us to.
Yeah,
and he came from a very affluent family.
Right.
Ernest Hemingway is just an amazing, interesting human being. We could do many stories on Hemingway.
We can do a show on him alone.
2 things that really stood out as I was reading more about Hemingway. Hemingway's father also committed suicide.
It was a family trait, you know.
And when it happened, he said to his wife at the time, "I'll probably go the same way." He made that quote.
Hemingway said it to his wife.
Said that to his wife about his father when his father, they found out when he was in New York, and he said to his wife, I'll probably go the same way. And he did.
Right. And so did his granddaughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going to that point, a lot, and Hemingway won the Pulitzer in 1953, won the Nobel Literature Prize in 1954. But also in 1954, this is the strangest thing I've ever heard, and I didn't know about this until today.
Okay.
When he was in Africa, Ernest Hemingway had a plane crash.
And the snows of Kilimanjaro?
Nope. But the very next day, he had a plane crash. Back-to-back days, he was in a plane crash.
Twice?
Yes. Back-to-back
And he walked away
days.
from both of them.
Well, the injuries put him on heavy medications, which created the depression, and he ended up killing himself in 1961. So from 54 to 61, he was in constant pain. And that's part of it. But back-to-back days, he had a plane crash.
I don't necessarily know if he was, and this is just conjecture on my part, I don't know if he was a social conscience or an adventure junkie when he was doing the ambulance in the Spanish Civil War.
But he was an ambulance driver in World War I.
What was he doing in the Spanish Civil War?
Spanish Civil War, he was
a correspondent?
He was a correspondent and journalist, and also in World War II.
Right.
He could not... he had a medical condition where he couldn't go into the Army in World War I.
Okay.
So he joined the Red Cross.
All right.
He got injured as an ambulance driver for the Red Cross during World War I and got sent back. He was a journalist and that's where Whom the Bell Tolls.
Whom the Bell Tolls, right.
Yeah,
the Spanish
that
Civil
came
War.
from his experience there.
Yeah.
But he was at Normandy as a journalist.
Really?
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I did not know.
So, I mean, this he's all about the adventure.
Right.
All about living life to the fullest.
And just for the record, and you scoring at home, Santi Frickin' Ago is the guy in the...
It's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, I know. And how many times have I gotten that wrong in trivia? Because I can never remember The Old Man in the Sea.
The Old Man in the Sea is Santiago.
Santiago, for those of you scoring at home, write it down now. It will come back to haunt me.
And I can tell you right now, I wanted to name the restaurant at
the Castillo Real?
not the Castillo Real.
The Renaissance.
The Renaissance.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I ended up naming it the Castillo.
Yeah, right.
I ended up naming it the Castillo. I wanted to name it Santiago's, but that was already taken here in town.
Yeah, right. At Guy Harvey.
Guy Harvey's.
Well,
So,
you may get your chance. I have faith in you.
yeah, we might get that one too.
I have faith in you, my friend. I really do.
But I can tell you, Ernest Hemingway is a guy, when you look at, he's lived life
oh my
to
goodness.
the possible fullest. I'm sorry, we did not get to any of your authors.
No. I am at peace with this. I wanted more Stetson Kennedy. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, our producer, however, controls the show, so
Yeah.
he keeps turning my
We
mic
got-
off. I don't understand why.
We got a little bit of Hemingway in there.
I know, and we got a little Zora Neale.
I mean, we are the boss. We could go
You the
overtime.
man. You the man.
Yeah.
We could go to overtime.
Yeah. No,
We're good, but
I think we got a good hour in, and I can tell you
Fascinating stuff.
we can come back to these other authors.
I agree. Don't erase the board.
No, we'll leave it. But happy birthday, Stetson, and cheers to you, sir, and appreciate what you did.
Absolutely.
How
And-
you impacted all of our lives.
And thank you for urging me to be a better person. I hope I can live up to that at some point in my life.
Yep. All right, guys. I want to say thank you to all our amazing sponsors. Blake, appreciate you keeping us on task. Lenny, excellent
Mention
job.
us when you go support them.
Yes, and go see our sponsors. Go take care of them. They're wonderful people. This is Bollox Talks and Tangents, and we'll see you next week.
We be here.
Bye-bye.